Thank you, Madam Speaker. We could talk about so many things today on how the Democrats are tearing this nation apart. The immigration crisis, the attack on the American family, the destruction of race relations, skyrocketing crimes because of the defund police movement. I could go on, but today we'll talk about the financial disaster that the Biden administration is causing. There is no doubt that the Democrats' outrageous, reckless, and out-of-control spending is putting our nation in financial jeopardy. However, I cannot help but notice that Democrats in this chamber systematically fail to address the deeply personal and palpable impact of this administration's financial irresponsibility. To my colleagues across the aisle, please understand that inflation is severely hurting American families and their ability to create and sustain financial security. Over the weekend, I spoke to a restaurant owner who told me that due to soaring costs of goods and services, he will have to raise prices to make ends meet. I have many constituents on fixed incomes who tell me that they're having to eliminate food off their grocery item list in order to afford family meals. Skyrocketing costs present a serious problem for American families and workers, and under this administration, costs do not seem to be going down anytime soon. Fact, inflation has increased every single month since Joe Biden took office. Gas prices are at their highest level since 2014, and 13 million individuals are still on some type of unemployment, while over 9 million jobs remain unfilled. This type of scenario is essentially unheard of and totally artificially created by the Biden administration. They failed to get the $15 minimum wage, and so now they have artificially cut the American workforce in an attempt to force wages upward. Such a forced, quick increase in wages will undoubtedly be inflationary, as small businesses and even large fast food chains will have to raise their prices just to maintain viability. Do they think the American people are that stupid? Endless borrowing has consequences. Republican lawmakers see this every day as ordinary Americans are having to bear the cost of excessive Democrat spending at the gas pump, in the grocery store, at the mall, at the car dealership. My constituents are having to spend more of their hard-earned dollars just to get to work, feed their children, and care for loved ones. The numbers don't lie. According to the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, gas prices are up 45% from last year, used car prices up 45%, airfare up 24%, hotel prices 16%. At the grocery store, bacon is up 8%, fruit prices 7%, fish 6%, and milk 5%. Even the cost of a cup of coffee is feeling the cost of the Democrats' reckless spending spree. Unfortunately, under Biden's leadership, the situation looks bleak. House Democrats are well accustomed to spending beyond their means, but they routinely ignore its negative impact on the American people. What's worse, experts agree that the Democrats' far-left proposals will undoubtedly lead to higher taxes on the vast majority of middle-class American families. Here's what we know. A recent report from the Tax Policy Center found that Biden's tax plan will increase taxes on an astounding 75% of middle-class Americans, raise taxes on 95% Americans by 2031. This broken policy work has real consequences and that are completely unsustainable. Another study by the Wharton School of Business showed that Biden's $6 trillion budget would slow economic growth, shrink the American economy, and cut workers' hours and wages. In fact, annualized real wages are already down by 3.95% since 2020. I would implore my colleagues across the aisle to listen to their constituents and sympathize with what they are going through. More than that, I urge them to recognize that we as lawmakers have a responsibility to care for our citizens and ensure that big government policies do not squander American families and small businesses. Look, this could be simple. All Americans understand that to stay financially viable and intact, they must stick to a budget and spend within their means. I encourage the Biden administration and its Democratic cohorts in the House to balance their own checkbooks immediately for the sake of the American people and to stop this reckless spending spree. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I will yield back.
The gentleman yields pursuant to